Despite being the busy Pope, with heads of state to meet and pilgrims to greet, Pope Francis always made time to hear confessions, seen here listening to the heartfelt words of a young person at World Youth Day. In fact, it's believed that before becoming Pope, a young Bergoglio first realized his vocation while sitting in this very confessional box in his home neighborhood of Flores. But then, when he was the all-powerful Archbishop of Buenos Aires, it was here to the Church of Our Lady of Pompeii that he would come to tell his confessions, and the priest who heard them was a capuchin friar, Father Luis Pascual Dri, who today is 98. And he remembers Archbishop Bergoglio always had a strong sense of mercy. Your Eminence, you were the confessor of Bergoglio. What do you remember of him?
I remember that he always told me, "Don't forget, Jesus forgave everyone, so you also have to forgive everyone." He told me to keep thinking about mercy, and really that was his theme: mercy, to forgive, to love, to embrace. I think mercy was important to him because he saw so much misery and poverty around the slums. That touched his heart, and being with those people gave him a real sense of mercy.
I know that Bergoglio had a special devotion to Our Lady of Pompeii. Is that why he would come here often?
He was very devoted to Our Lady of Pompeii, and so would always come here where he would see the friars, and they really liked him. If there was a feast or any kind of event, he was always here.
Being Bergoglio's confessor, Father Dri would sit with him and listen carefully, hearing about his faults and failures, but they would also talk about his dreams and ambitions. As you got to know him very closely, what did you learn about his hopes and his dreams and his worries too? What was on his heart?
I think he really wanted to change the church, to make it more for the poor, so that we would not just have priests that preached about poverty, but we would be poor and be among the poor. He dreamed of a poor church for the poor, and not a rich church that talked about the poor.
And it would be years later, after becoming Pope, that Francis would thank his friend for his closeness over the years in a very special way, by making him a Cardinal.
Well, I immediately imagined myself all dressed in red, and I thought, no, I don't want that. I want to be a friar with a brown habit and nothing else. But really, I got so emotional. I cried so much. I never thought this could happen, that a simple capuchin friar, born in the countryside who took care of pigs and animals and cows, could be told someday, "You are now a cardinal of the Catholic Church of God."
And when Cardinal Luis Pascual Dri went to the Vatican to meet his old friend Bergoglio, who was now the successor of St. Peter, the head of the global Catholic Church, spiritual leader of over 1.4 billion people, what was the first thing he was asked?
When I visited Pope Francis in Casa Santa Marta, the first thing he asked me was, "So will you hear my confession?" And after I did, he asked me for absolution. It really showed his humility, because here was the Pope, coming to confession with a simple Capuchin friar. But that's the way he wanted it, and that's it.
In Buenos Aires, Argentina, Colin Flynn for EWTN News.